Kakadosh Boker Or Bekiim Halacha 3 day 28 page 53 Siman Zayin Halacha Kaf. Okay, so we're talking about now Misha Achal Davar Shetzarich Levarech Acharav Bracha Acharona Boreh Nefashot Rabot. Imagine right now you ate something that you have to make a bracha acharona boreh nefashot. Okay, doesn't matter whether it's food, liquid. Vekodem sheyivarech shabireh right sheyivarech yatsa lenekevav. You went to the washroom. Which one do you do first? Do you do the boreh nefashot or do you do asher yatsa? So you say yevarech tchila birkat asher yatsa, and then afterwards you're going to make the bracha of boreh nefashot. Now he says, now even if it's going to be that you forgot to say the Asher Yatzar immediately, and then you ate and you drank a shiur afterwards, right? Still, right? Yivarech kodem Asher Yatzar, and then afterwards you do boreh nefashot. Fine. He says, v'imi. So that means even if it came afterwards, meaning it wasn't, because the first case was you first did the boreh nefashot, meaning you were supposed to do boreh nefashot, and then the washroom. So he said, no, that not only do you do Asher Yatzar there first, even if it was the other way around, you went to the washroom, you forgot Asher Yatzar. I come and I drink, I have to make boreh nefashot. Even in that case, I would still make Asher Yatzar, right? First. No, because we're going to see about which one's first. 1 second. Now, if this happened at the end of the Suda, before Birkat Hamazon, you're going to do Birkat Hamazon first, and afterwards Asher Yatzar. Nevertheless, he says, if right now you're going to suspect that maybe you're going to forget the Beracha Asher Yatzar after the Birkat Hamazon, so then you do Asher Yatzar before the Birkat Hamazon. Okay, so these are the different things. We're going to see the footnote. 1 minute. Please, shwai. Everyone just pay attention, because we're going to see. Okay, so he says, if you're going to eat mezonot and then you go to the washroom, okay, so basically like this. In all of these halachot, right, basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to find an order of events. So what we're trying to say is there's no order according to events of, for example, what happens first or what happens last. It has nothing to do with order of I did this first, or I did this second, or I did this third. It has nothing to do with the entire concept of, right, of the order, right, of the first, second, or third. Nothing to do with one another. Okay? What he comes and says is that it has to do with the tadir v'sheno tadir. What does that mean? I've got two berachot which are the same level. Yeah? Same level. What does it mean, same level? Same level means they're both the Rabbanan. So therefore, I've got boreh nefashot, and I've got what? And I've got Asher Yatzar. What do you do more? So Asher Yatzar, person goes to the washroom, right? They go to the washroom a lot, right? And therefore, they do it much more. Remember the boreh nefashot, right? Unless you finished a meal, right? Usually, it's very difficult to do a boreh nefashot, because usually the bracha that you do is for a very long period of time. For example, I could stay, if I'm going to stay in the Beit Knesset from now until Mincha, how many brachot did I make? I made one shakol. That's all. So if I already made a shakol during my selichot, the entire rest of the day I'm on my bracha. I made my bracha of shakol, and nothing's going to be hefsek. There's hefsek only if I'm going to leave the building, right? So one thing, that's another machloket, which we'll get to another time, right? But right, it's only one bracha. So therefore, because of that, what do? So he said we do Asher Yatzar first. So one more time, when you have the same level, Asher Yatzar will come before boreh nefashot. Now he's saying it doesn't matter whether the order means, it doesn't matter whether you first went to the washroom and you forgot to say Asher Yatzar and then you ate, and now you have a choice. What do you do first? Asher Yatzar, or the other way around, that you first ate and then you went to the washroom and now you have a choice. Which doesn't matter which one's which, because it's nothing to do with the order of chronological order. It has to do with when you have the same level, Asher Yatzar comes first. Right? 1 second. Thank you. 1 second, please, everyone. So now, that is the first halacha. The second halacha is going to be, what about now if it's not on the same level? So it says the halacha, if it's not on the same level, you do always the one which is a higher mitzvah first. So Birkat Hamazon, Doraita. So you will always do Birkat Hamazon beforehand. The only time you're never going to do it, you won't do it basically, is if you're going to forget the Asher Yatzar. And if you're going to completely forget the Beracha, so no, it's better now, because in Loch Shav Matai, meaning it's better to do it like a mitzvah overet. So then you do it right now, and then you do the Birkat Hamazon. The same halacha would apply to Ala Michya. Because since Amichia is a machlok poskim, whether it's midoraita or midrabanan, since the majority of poskim hold that it's doraita, again, it's not the same level. It's not the same level. First, you will do the doraita, which is going to be, or the safek doraita, which is going to be the alamichia, right? The man shalosh, and then afterwards you're going to come and you're going to do the other one, which is going to be the rabbanan. Bahalacha kafalev comes and says like this: Berachot shehen arukot ketzat. Yeah, yesh לך את זה שם? Yeah, berachot which are a little bit long. For example, asher yatzan. Haren kebirkat kriyat shema. שרשאי להפסיק לענות בהם לדברים שבקדושה. You're allowed in the middle of the bracha to answer דברים שבקדושה. So for example, if I'm going to say, ברוך אתה השם שהכל נהיה בדברו, I cannot stop in the middle. Why? It's a bracha קצרה, which means it's a short bracha. So once it's short bracha, you cannot stop whatsoever in the middle. But if it's a little bit long, so for example, asher יצא, I could stop in the middle. So I could start, ברוך אתה השם אשר יצר את האדם לחוכמה, אמן ישב רבה מברך, לעולם יתברך. Right? ממש like that. You're allowed to stop in the middle for דברים שבקדושה. ולכן, and therefore, דברים שבקדושה. הנמצא באמצע ברכת אשר יצא, לאחר שהתחיל בתיבת אשר יצא, that means he had to say אשר יצא, because you can't stop ברוך אתה השם אלוקינו מלך העולם, right? And then answer אמן ישב רבה. No. You have to start it. אשר יצא. Once you said אשר יצא, ושמע קדיש וקדושה, פוסק ועונה כמו קריאת שמע וברכותיה, just like קריאת שמע in the Berachot. But you're only going to answer the first 5 amanim of Kaddish and Yesh Rabba until Yitbarach. Now, if you said Baruch Ata Hashem and you did not say Rofecho Basar Mafli Lasot, you're not allowed to again. Because basically you're already in the part of the Beracha part, meaning in the middle part, which is the praise part, you're allowed to. So, Baruch Ata Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam, still not, because you didn't start the Beracha. Asher Yatzar. Once you said Asher, now you're in the Beracha. You're in the middle. So now you can answer the first 5 amanim. Okay, fine. Once you say Baruch Ata Hashem at the end again, you can't stop again because you're already Baruch Ata Hashem. So there you have to finish basar umafli laasot. Yeah, 1, 2. Yeah, 22. He says like this: Onen she'asat tzrachav, a person that's onen. Yeah, the family member passed away, so now he's not going to say Asher Yatzat, but he washes his hands. ואף אם המת נקבר, he's an onen. Yeah? ואף אם המת he's patur from mitzvot. He doesn't do any mitzvot. Right? He's an onen. And even if it's going to be that the met was nikvar toch shiur malach parsa me'asiyat tzrechav, what happens if you went to the washroom right before the burial? And then they buried him. So now it's within 72 minutes. It's within 72 minutes. So he says, why safek berachot lakel? Again, the reason is because, again, it could be that there's a whole question: is an onen patur or is it dechiyah? It's a famous chakira, meaning like this: is it that you're exempt, or it's just that it's pushed off? And this, by the way, happens with everything. There's a lot of times that we use this concept, right? If you're going to tell me that you're exempt, so now when the person now gets buried, since he was exempt, he doesn't have to do it anymore because he never had the obligation to do it. But if you're going to tell me he has obligation, but he has a technical issue, and therefore it's pushed off because he has to take care of the deceased. So now if they already buried the deceased, so now he should say it. So that's called, that by the way, we find that in many things. We find that by Ilchot Muktzeh. Is Muktzeh, right? For example, Krish Velatol Yisur, right? Taking this, let's say a hammer, to break open a coconut, right? Or to break open a walnut. Is that considered that I'm allowed to use the hammer? Is that considered that completely that it's not considered muktzeh, and therefore I'm allowed to come and I'm allowed to smash open a thing? Or is it that it's pushed off that usually I do consider muktzeh, but in order to break the thing, so then you're allowed to? So what's enough kamina? Let's say I have a cracker, a walnut cracker. So if it's designated for that, so maybe there for sure I should be able to use it. Now the question is, should I still use the hammer? If you tell me that the hammer was completely exempt of the concept of muktzeh, so selamim shos, the hammer and the walnut cracker is the exact same thing. You choose whichever one you want to use. But if you're going to tell me, no, really bad minute is muktzeh, but it just pushed off now, so don't push it off now because you have a walnut cracker. So don't push it. And this, by the way, you have this on hundreds of things. Is it like a complete that it's pushed off, or is it an exemption? Okay, 23. Akam boker. You wake up in the morning. You really need to go. Yeah, you really need to go. So what happens is, right? I think we have to make it colder. Yeah, we have to make it colder. Yeah. So stand up. Yeah, he says, "En lo lachmir al atzmo v'lishot." Right? Ad told you that. Don't be machmir and wait until you do netilat yadayim. You immediately you go and you go to the washroom even before netilat yadayim. Right? So this happens actually to the majority of people. They wake up and they have to go to the washroom. So run, go to the bathroom. You're not going to be over on the Yisur about the Shakatsu. Remember, if you withhold yourself, you're over on the Avera about the Shakatsu. You're making yourself an abomination, right? Yizaher shelo yiga be'evarav. But be careful, don't touch your body parts. You don't need to. And she told you that until you're going to wash your hands. But if you don't need that much, if you want to do first the netilat yadayim before going to the shurutim, you're allowed to. You're allowed to go to the washroom. So do you, and only afterwards do the netilat yadayim. So again, it's up to you, but you have the choice. And we already explained in Siman Daled, 1 second, in Halacha, you're allowed even to put on your clothing before netilat. Kav Daled, 24, the last Halacha of the day. Okay, he says, we already explained above that a person is going to be up in the nighttime, right? He says, and you want to go to sleep immediately afterwards. If you want to continue sleeping, you told wash your hands and make asher yatzara, but don't make the bracha netilat yadayim because you want to go back to sleep. And when you get up in the morning, you wash your hands and you do netilat yadayim. Zot omeret, kamta be'emtza layla, right? You woke up in the middle of the night, yeah. And then what happens? And now you want to go to the washroom. So okay, go to the washroom, wash your hands, right? But you're not making netilat yadayim because you're going to sleep, right? So what do? Asher yatzara. And then you go back to sleep. Okay?